Hey guys, it's Hunter Henry of the LA Chargers. Welcome to the capsON podcast. I hope you guys enjoy and thanks for listening.
Welcome to the capsON podcast, coming to you from the capital, with your hosts, Nick Tobias, Tyler Blumenstick, and Michael Britton.
The fifth episode of the capsON podcast. We're approaching week 16 with 2 more weeks left in the NFL season. Last week, we didn't do too well as a squad after a really strong first performance in week 14? When we started keeping track of our records and making picks on every single game. Just a little bit of a recap. Nick ended 6 for 16 last week, coming in at 37.5%.
That's not good.
No, not at all. Mike was the winner of the week at 10 out of 16, 62.5%. I was 9 for 16, 56.25%, and Mano was 7 of 16 at 43%. The 2-week totals, Nick sits at 51%, Mikey at 64.52%. I'm at 63, and Mano's at 56. So we're looking to get those back up.
It's a bounce back week.
Bounce back week. I feel like we've been trying to bounce back a lot.
Timmy bounce back.
Across all sports, mostly college basketball, because it's just really, really tough right now for whatever reason. But anyways, we're going to jump into the first game of the week. We got 3 Saturday games this week. I'm not sure why the NFL is doing this. Anybody know?
No.
I tried to figure it out. There's really no reason why, other than the fact that New England's playing on Saturday, and I said it the other day. I think Bill Belichick's got to be pissed off that their game got flexed to Saturday. But anyways, we're going to jump into the first game, Houston at Tampa Bay. Houston comes into this game at 9-5, Tampa at 7-7. The line opened at Houston minus 1.5. It's now up to Houston minus 3. The total opened at 53. It's now down to 50. Personally, I think this is a real easy game. But then again, I could also see it going the other way. Jameis Winston last week, we discussed that he had a broken finger on his throwing hand. He ended up, in my opinion, having the best week of the season. I'm pretty sure he threw for over 450, 4 tutties and interception. So that one interception is getting his numbers down. I don't know, maybe he got contacts or something. We make the comment every week, but it's true. I just think this is simple. I think Houston is just a better team. They're more solid. I just can't really trust Tampa Bay, although I picked them a fair bit. Laying a field goal, even on the road, I just don't think, like, Tampa's defense, this game's going to be a shootout. But I think Houston's defense has the ability to hunker down. And the probability of that happening as opposed to Tampa's defense hunkering down is, it's a big difference. So my pick's going to be Houston minus 3 on this one.
Yeah, Tampa Bay's without Mike Evans, Chris Godwin this game. It's left up to Brashad Perryman, and that's pretty much it.
Brashad had 3 touchdowns last week.
He did, but Godwin's out also, so he's going to have Houston's best corner, whoever that is. I'm not even sure.
It's going to be tough. I mean, it's going to come down to come down to Tampa Bay and if they can keep up or not. It's going to be Cam Brate catching touchdowns in the end zone, but I can't trust Jameis Winston without his weapons this game. Yeah, he might throw for 400, but he's not. I don't know if they're going to win the game. I'm going to go with Houston minus 3.
Yeah, I mean, Jameis Winston has thrown for over 400 yards in the past 2 games. Like, no way he's able to do this for a third straight. I understand the Houston defense has been giving up a decent amount of yards, but still, you can't trust Jameis. And like we said, with the receiver and being down Chris Godwin as well, I'm also going with Houston minus, what is it, 6?
3.
Minus
Houston
3?
3.
Yeah.
Houston minus 3.
Yeah, this is a really tough game for me, at least. I don't know who the Houston Texans are. Losing in, pretty ugly fashion to Denver and then coming back and bouncing back with a nice, tough win with Tennessee, a really well-coached, organized Tennessee team. I just don't know who Houston is, but I can't confidently pick Tampa Bay. They are on a 4-game win streak, like you guys said. Their 2 best wide receivers are out. I don't know if it's necessarily the talent at wide receiver or if it's the schemes that Bruce Arians has put in place with Jameis and those wide receivers to get them open. Because, like you said, Perriman had a pretty good game last week, and he's obviously not a Mike Evans or even a Chris Godwin type of player.
Perriman's bounced around too.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
He's experienced. It's not like they're throwing, 6th round rookie out there.
Experience from being in the league, but he hasn't. It's not like he's part of any starting wide. Hasn't stayed in one place.
That's true.
So he doesn't have. Yeah, there's people who are experienced and have bounced around.
Right.
But,
yeah, I get that. I mean, I don't know how much credit I want to give to Bruce Arians for just drawing up schemes to get guys open, but they're not afraid to throw the ball. They can be up, 10, down 20, up 20, whatever. And they're still going to throw the ball. They just put the ball in Jameis's hands, and I don't know if that's just the system Bruce Arians runs, or they just don't have trust in Peyton Barber and Ronald Jones. Both have been kind of lackluster this year. It's tough. I think I'm gonna take Houston -3, just because I'm more confident in Houston as a team than I am in Tampa Bay. And usually in these types of situations, talent wins out. I'm just deathly afraid of a backdoor cover from Jameis Winston.
Houston plays Tennessee next week again.
They played them really, really well.
If they win this
won the
week,
game.
if they win this week and they have to play Tennessee again next week, there's a chance that they can make it in the playoffs.
They will make the playoffs. They'll win the division.
So they need to win both. This is a must-win game, obviously, for Houston. I don't think they disappoint this game. I think they come out firing. I think they build a nice early lead.
Do you see any situation where they're kind of overlooking a beat-up Tampa Bay team, looking forward to another matchup against Tennessee?
I don't think so.
If they beat Tennessee last week, I would agree with that, but I think with a loss, there's no way.
They beat Tennessee last week.
Yeah.
Oh, shit, that's right.
They beat Tennessee.
I think they want to keep it rolling. I don't know.
I just don't think Deshaun Watson's a guy that takes his foot off the gas. He's got guys around him. I feel like we're beating the dead horse here. Would we have a squad agreement on Houston here?
Yeah.
Yep.
But either way,
Let's get this next.
I don't know. But by the way, that game's at 1:00 on Saturday. It's a triple header. That was the first game. The next game's at 4:30. Then the night game 8:15. The Rams at 49ers. But we're gonna be moving on to Buffalo at New England. It's a really intriguing matchup. Buffalo comes in at 10-4. New England at 11-3. New England has controlled this division for as long as I can remember, for pretty much all of our childhood and in recent years. The line is at New England 6.5. It opened at that and has not moved. The total, extremely low, opened at 38.5. It's even gone lower, now currently sitting at 37.
Sheesh.
Buffalo has a shot to
win the game.
To win the game.
To win the game.
But they also have a shot to tie for the division.
Yeah.
And leave it up to week 17. And they lost to New England 16-10 at home earlier in the season. They played them really, really tough. Josh Allen actually got knocked out of that game, if I remember correctly. But I don't know. Just a key number here, and it's not going to really help my case, but it's important to throw it out there for any of you guys. Buffalo has actually not dropped a game against the spread on the road. They're 6-0-1 all year. New England's 3-3 at home against the spread. Buffalo is one of the best teams in the league at 9-4-1 against the spread all year, but I don't think that's going to be the case this year. I've been high on Buffalo. I've rode them to wins for most of the season. They've really kept us afloat, I think, as a squad. We've all been pretty high on them. Their defense has carried them, but I just don't see the Patriots allowing Buffalo to really get back into this. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I don't think Buffalo's defense allows that, but I don't know. New England's going to win this game by a touchdown or more. I could see it going anywhere from 7 to 10 points, and that's why I'm going to take New England -6.5.
I can't overlook what the Bills have done this year. They've done nothing but impress me. Their offense is a little slow, but Josh Allen's proven that he can do what he has to do when he's got to do it. I think this is the game where New England starts to fall apart and the Tom Brady era starts coming to an end. Julian Edelman's been dealing with an injury too for the past couple weeks. He's been in on most 95, 98% of the snaps. Last week I think he was like around 60, 62. I mean, they were playing Cincinnati, but that game was tied 10-10 at halftime.
And the other side of that too, Jamie Collins, Jonathan Jones, and Jason McCourty are all questionable. Well, Jonathan Jones is out, but they're all questionable with the exception of Jones.
I like the Bills here. It's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a field goal game. It's going to be back and forth. It's going to be a defensive game. I think the under is probably going to be in play here too. But I'm confident here with Buffalo plus 6.5, even on the road.
Yeah, I'm just worried about the offensive talent that's on the other side for Buffalo. The defense has obviously been the talk the entire year, and the offense is good for what it is because the defense keeps them in games. And if Josh Allen can just get them a lead, it's they're pretty good at holding it. I don't know if Josh Allen can do that against a really good Patriots team.
I was impressed at what he did last week against the Steelers. The Steelers have a great defense at home.
I wouldn't say great.
What do you call them?
They weren't. If you look at them in the beginning of the season, they're just not a great team.
But ever since they got Minkah Fitzpatrick,
Minkah Fitzpatrick, you know what Bill Belichick does. I mean, not that the Patriots are playing the Steelers by any chance, but I don't know. I just don't. I would not compare this New England defense to Pittsburgh's defense.
I'm not comparing it. I'm just. I feel like you can compare it a little bit. They're two good defenses. Those are two top 5 defenses in the league.
Either way, I mean, I already made my pick, but
all right, sorry, man. Go ahead, man. Sorry.
No, you're good. The Bills, against a division opponent, I don't think the Patriots are going to lose the game. Patriots have kind of been skidding a little bit. They're still, obviously one of the better teams in the league. They just got off, a tough little stretch with the Texans and the Chiefs, and then obviously bounce back against Cincinnati. I think Patriots are going to take this one.
I gotta agree with you, man.
Against the spread.
I gotta agree with you, man. You pretty much hit on all the points I wanted to make. The one thing that does worry me is if the Bills' defense can get to Brady early and put him on the ground, I think that'll shake him up a little bit, and then I'll be a little bit weary. But I just think Josh Allen, he's a young guy. He's going into Foxborough. And like you said, with the division matchup, I just think, yes, it might be a close game, but I don't think they're going to be able to pull it off. I know I go with Josh Allen, his big hands all the time. But in a situation like this, you got to trust in the veteran. I got to go with the Pats at minus 6.5. Trust in Tom Brady.
So just to throw it out there, the last time the Bills beat New England was in October of 2016. It was actually in Foxborough. Tom Brady, I don't believe he played that game. I'm trying to find the stat for you guys, but
was the thing is that was such a long time ago. That's 3 years ago.
The Bills were such a different team.
The Bills were
they were. But what I'm saying is,
Jacoby Brissett's a viable quarterback.
Jacoby Brissett of 2016, filling in for Tom Brady. The Patriots didn't put up a single point. And that was the last time they beat them. And then you take it back even more, and the last time they beat them was 2014. And Bill Belichick has been the coach. Tom Brady has been there. They know how to play Buffalo. All the games pretty much stay low scoring, with the exception of one game in 2017 and one game in 2016. But I don't know. I mean, we've made our picks.
The point total on this is 37.5. At least on FanDuel, that's absurdly low. The over is 5-9 in Patriots games this season, and I'm pretty sure it's even worse with Buffalo. Yeah, the over is 3-11 in Buffalo games this season. That's the explanation behind 37.5. So it's going to be a defensive, grinded out game, and if that's your thing, then it's going to be a great watch. But
I think the unders is a good play in this game too. Surprisingly, at 37.
Yeah. Well, the last matchup was 16-10 or something like that. So it's definitely
it's going to be a gross game.
It's going to be
All right. Anyways, moving on to the nightcap on Saturday. We got the Rams at the Niners. The line opened at San Francisco minus 6.5. The over/under was set at 46. Now bought down to they're bet down to 44.5. The game's being played in San Francisco. The Rams are 8-6, very inconsistent. The 49ers have been inconsistent the last couple weeks, but still sitting at 11-3. I don't really know what to think about this. I'm still not really high on the Niners. Like, I know that they're good. Like, I know their defense is good, and I know they can put up points. We saw it in the game in New Orleans 2 weeks ago. But they just dropped the game at home to Atlanta, who has been up and down but has just not been good like this entire year. They played Baltimore close 3 weeks ago, and then they blew out Green Bay 4 weeks ago. I don't really know. It's more on a play. Like my take on this is more on the Rams' inconsistency, because I'm higher on the Rams than I think I should be at this point in the season. Like, they have the talent. They're extremely good. They've shown flashes to be able to put up points. They've shown flashes to be able to hold teams to not many points. But this sitting at a touchdown line here, I don't really know, especially in a divisional game. I don't know if me being high on the Rams is really going to hold up here. I think I'm going to have to go with the Niners, -6.5. I just feel like there's a lot better of a chance that the Rams crumble than the Niners crumble. And Jimmy G has shown his ability to put the ball in the end zone against good teams and not really falter. He led that last minute. I wouldn't even call it really a drive, more like almost a 3-and-out, throw a little flat pass to Kittle and let him just absolutely manhandle men down the sideline for about 40, 50 yards and then kick the field goal. But I don't know. I'm going to go with the Niners -6.5. But I'm not too confident. So, I mean, definitely not going to be anywhere close to my lock of the week. But since we are forced to make picks on every single game,
You gotta make them.
Yeah, you
gotta
gotta
make
make
it.
'em.
And I'm going to have to
Gotta
pick,
make 'em.
Niners -6.5.
I don't know what I'm in the same boat as you, Stick. I don't really know what to do with this game. I mean, the Rams got embarrassed at Dallas in a game that they kind of needed to do, and Dallas is a very talented defense. So what a better way to bounce back than to go and face another big time defense on the road again. But just doing like the eye test and like an armchair analyst kind of thing, it seems like the 49ers struggle against more like dynamic offenses. So like the like the Ravens put 20 on them, the Saints put 46 on them, and the Cardinals, who Cliff Kingsbury is installing some intricacies in that offense, they put 26 on them. So I think last year the big thing obviously was like Sean McVay, and Sean McVay is drawing up plays and doing stuff completely different than everybody else in the NFL. Whether that's caught up or not is a question for another day, but I still think I almost said St. Louis. I think LA, the Rams, are still one of the more dynamic offenses in the league, and if they can keep Jared Goff in a clean pocket, then this game will probably be close. I think I'm going to take the Rams +6.5.
I agree with you in the fact that the Rams are a dynamic offense. That's a fact right there. But with Richard Sherman and Kwan Williams both being full participants in practice and being back there, both very, very well defenders. And also Jared Goff suffered a hand contusion last game.
Ouch.
Fancy word for a bruise.
Yeah. But still, I just don't have faith in the Rams. They did screw me on my lock of the week last week against Dallas. Mm-hmm. I think that the 49ers are just a better team overall here, and I have to take the 49ers -6.5, just based on their defense and Jared Goff's inconsistency, and 49ers -6.5.
Yeah, Sherman has proven this year that he is still one of the league's top cornerbacks, and he can lock down receivers.
He called himself the best corner in the league.
Okay, well he's
and
not.
And then he backed it up with "You can't argue opinions," and
he's not wrong.
That is correct.
But my opinion is Stephon Gilmore is the best cornerback in the league.
It's my issue here is with the Rams and what happens to them when Jared Goff doesn't have a clean pocket, when he doesn't have time, when he can't make throws. It all rides on Jared Goff's shoulders. The last time when San Fran played L.A., San Fran won 20-7, and the game was a lot worse than 20-7. I'm surprised that the Rams even scored 7 points that game. I think San Fran needs to win these next couple games to secure the number one spot to win the division too in the playoffs. Because if they lose a game, they have Seattle right on their butts, and they drop from 1 to 5 in the playoff seeding if they lose a game or they don't win the division. So San Fran's taking this very seriously, and I don't think they're going to let this one slip out of their hands. I think they build an early lead. I think they run all over them. They pass all over them. I just can't trust L.A. I can't trust Jared Goff. I can't trust their offense. Cooper Kupp, yeah, but that's really it. Robert Woods has been a no-show. Josh Reynolds is a scrub. Todd Gurley can't really figure it out on the ground. If he doesn't have an open lane in the end zone, he's not making it down there anymore. So I'm gonna roll with San Fran -6.5.
Yeah, I mean the defensive line for them, like Bosa and DeForest Buckner and everybody on that line, and even their linebacking core just has like they're gonna create
DeForest.
They're gonna create hell for Jared Goff, and we all know what he does.
When you draft,
pressure.
defensive linemen
Like
in the
that?
first round for
Yeah.
like 6 years in a row, hopefully 4 of them work out
Well,
enough.
Bosa's a monster.
Yeah, he's good.
All right, what's next?
We got Sunday games now, starting with the 1 o'clocks as usual. A little bit. I mean, we have 3 really good Saturday games, and then we're gonna move on to this garbage game, in my opinion. Jacksonville at Atlanta. The line opened at Atlanta -7.5. It's now Atlanta -7. The total opened at 45.5. It's now up to 46.5. I mean, Atlanta's like this game is just weird for me. Like it's a tale of like both teams had very different weeks last week. Atlanta went into San Francisco. We just talked about it, and beat up on the Niners. And Jacksonville goes into Oakland and comes back from, I believe, 13 point. They were down 13-0, and they came back, and I believe they won.
Beat the Raiders 20-6.
Yeah, I think they were down 16-0 at the half, and they didn't let up a point in the second half. I might be wrong on that, but anyways, Oakland didn't score more than 3 in the second half, and they came back and won that Minshew magic. The Falcons are playing for their coach. I mean, Dan Quinn was on the hot seat earlier in the year. They're still not having a great season, but they're playing better. I still am not completely comfortable laying a touchdown, even at home. But, I mean, usually wouldn't be comfortable here. I mean, I'm going to take Atlanta -7 here. But this is just a game of playmakers, and Jacksonville's offense has just seemed to be very lethargic and just not able to put up points. They started really, really, really slow against a bad Raiders team, but then they found something. But Atlanta's a lot more well-coached, in my opinion, than the Raiders. I feel like Gruden doesn't really have a grip. Then again, you can't argue opinions. But, yeah, I don't know. Like Jacksonville can win this game, but, I mean, I just don't see it happening. I think Atlanta is going to come out and really make a statement here at home against a poor Jacksonville team playing on the road. So I'm going to go with Atlanta -7. I don't love it, but again, got to make the pick. So
I don't know why I have a feeling Minshew's going to pop off this game.
Right?
I have a feeling he's going to pop off.
They're
They're getting Chark back.
It's definitely possible, but they just fired Tom Coughlin. I don't know what his official position was, head vice president of football operations or something
We
like
were talking
that.
about this
So
last night.
I
Of
think
sitting in the chair.
yeah, I think a lot of changes are coming to Jacksonville in the offseason. Starting with Coach Marone, I think he's on the outs there, and I think he knows it, and I think the players might know it too. And it's a completely different, completely opposite situation than in Atlanta, where they heard Dan Quinn was on the hot seat, and they're like, "Oh snap! This dude took us to the Super Bowl like 4 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever."
Yeah. 28-3, baby.
Yeah, but and they started to pick it up and play for him. In situations like this, like Atlanta, like in games like these, talent usually wins out. I think Atlanta has more talent on both sides of the ball that are really starting to pick it up, really starting to play, solid enough football to, sneak a couple wins. Drop 40 on the Panthers and then go into San Francisco and win. I feel bad for the fans, especially since there's games on Saturday and they have Chick-fil-A in their stadium,
right.
and you can't. And
No
the one
Chick-fil-A.
time you go to an NFL game and they're not going to have Chick-fil-A, and
Did they play
could
last?
have Chick-fil-A.
When did
Was
they
it
play?
last week's?
No,
Or
it was
2
it was a
weeks?
couple weeks ago. Did they play on Thursday and Chick-fil-A was open?
They couldn't give him a Saturday game. Like, they had an option.
Come on.
Like, come on.
Off for the
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, but
So what are you wrong with?
so I'm going to take Atlanta -7.
I think that's the smart decision here. Jacksonville just doesn't look the way they did at the beginning of the year, the way they did at the end of last year. I can't trust Jacksonville's defense, let alone their offense. Atlanta's turned it around. They have been fighting for Dan Quinn, but I think both of these teams, the players are fighting for their jobs. I mean, like you mentioned before, there might be some, a lot of turnover in Jacksonville, and everyone in Jacksonville is fighting for their job. Minshew wants a spot on the roster.
Yeah, even the players are coming out to make a point. If it's like a walk year for them in free agency, or if they're like, I want to be here next year when hopefully things start to
and
go
that's
up.
why I think Jacksonville's going to play tough. I think they're going to play hard, and I think the game's going to be close in the beginning, but I think Atlanta blows it out at the end of the game. Julio Jones, do they still have Calvin Ridley, or is he on IL?
He's out.
Okay, Julio Jones himself can put up 200 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns. I
And
mean,
Hooper's
You did
back.
call 2 Saquon touchdowns last week, and he did get 2 touchdowns.
did I really?
So, I mean, I didn't do it, Mikey didn't
I
do it, and
didn't.
Mano says he didn't do it, so it had to have been you. I
All
remember
right.
somebody saying
Good job,
that.
All right, well, thanks. I mean, I don't remember doing that, but I'll take credit for it.
So if that's the case,
I think Julio pops off here. I think Matt Ryan has his go-to guy. Devontae Freeman's back, kind of healthy, but I don't know. I'm not a fan of Devontae Freeman. But Atlanta's defense has been showing out. So I'm going to... God, 7 points is a lot. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'm going to go with Atlanta. I'll go with Atlanta.
I gotta agree with you. If you look at their numbers in the past 6 games, the Jags are 1-5 against the spread, and they're also 0-6 against their last 6 games against NFC opponents. They're going into Atlanta. Atlanta's playing pretty good. I don't have faith in Garner. I think it's gonna be, like you said, close in the first half, and then it's gonna just start to fall apart in the second half for Jacksonville, and the Falcons are gonna pull away in this. I'm gonna have to go with Atlanta -7.
I feel bad for our friend Andy.
Andrew.
Our friend Andy is a huge Jags fan, and he was real excited when the Jags came close to making the Super Bowl, and now it's all falling apart. So Andy, my thoughts are with you during this tough time.
Sorry, bud. I'll still be wearing the Gardner Minshew jersey on Sunday for you.
speaking of that playoff run, poor Blake Bortles. Like, he's now behind Jared Goff. Like, oh my God. Like, Blake Bortles better get a job next year because that guy has it. He's better than some quarterbacks in the league. I'm not saying by
Questionable.
far, but he's better than some quarterbacks in the league right now.
And he's being the Alex Moran out there, living in Cali, not doing much.
What a life.
So we got New Orleans at Tennessee. The line opened at New Orleans -3. It's now New Orleans -2.5. So early action on Tennessee. The total was set at 50.5. Now down to 49.5. First of all, just like the initial like line movement here surprises me. New Orleans defense played extremely well against Indy. Albeit
Albeit it's Indy.
I mean, but the thing is, like, Indy had put up points.
You know
in
what I
weeks
think is
past.
happening here? And I could be completely wrong. So you said a lot of early monies on Tennessee, right?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have started to pick up the scent on Tennessee, right? Consistent, good coached, well, a very good like football team. I think
they
bet
play
up-
together. They play together.
I think the public bet on them last week, were disappointed, and now they see the line at +3, and they think, and Vegas might think, and the public thinks that this might be a bounce back game for them. I think Vegas has caught on to Tennessee as well, but I'm not a huge fan of +3 in this situation. I think New Orleans is a much better team. Talent, coaching, etc. Not much else to say about it. It's New Orleans -3.
I'm just gonna make a point here. I mean, so just a little quick comparison of St. Louis. I mean, I did it. Look at
So,
that.
the St.
And it
Louis-
doesn't even apply to this game. New Orleans, their current opponent this week, Tennessee, and last week against Indy. Both teams are very run heavy. And New Orleans showed the ability to stop the run against a Indianapolis team that has Marlon Mack and kind of a three-headed backfield with Wilkins and Hines. And
3 good guys, though, not 3, take over the game running backs.
yeah, 3 solid guys, and they're run heavy. They have a great offensive line, but they couldn't even handle New Orleans defense last week. And then you look this week, yes, Tannehill has played extremely well since taking over from Marcus Mariota. But then you look at who their real playmakers are on offense and their big names, and it's Derrick Henry.
Who is battling through a hamstring injury still.
The difference for me here, and while just flat off the bat, I think New Orleans is a much better team than Tennessee. A.J. Brown for Tennessee has not. I mean, he's been good for them.
He's on and off.
Yeah, he's on and off, but he's been good for them. But then you look at who he's going to be lined up against, and it's going to be Marshawn Lattimore. And I don't think A.J. Brown is good enough to make a difference. I mean, I'm sure he'll have a decent game. I don't think he's going to go off. I don't think he's coming close to 100 receiving yards, but he'll get his catches. But Lattimore is going to be able to shut him down, and then the Saints are going to be able to turn their focus to the run game and try to stop Derrick Henry. Although that's not an easy task, they showed the ability to stop the run, slow down the run, and then you flip it back over to the Saints' ability to score the football. And Michael Thomas's Instagram name, Can't Guard Mike, is extremely true. You just can't guard the guy. You just truly cannot guard Michael Thomas. And it's a great 1-2 punch for New Orleans. And I just think the Saints are picking it up at the right time. I mean, they've played well all year, but, I mean, this seems like a gimme to me. I know Tennessee is a solid team, but then again, I'm huge on the talent factor if you've listened to our first 4 episodes. New Orleans just has it. And this line is way off, in my opinion. If I were to set it, I think this would be one of the games set around a touchdown. So this is going to be my lock of the week. I'll revisit it later, but New Orleans minus 2.5, laying a field goal on the road. That's my pick.
Yeah, you guys pretty much hit on it, so I'll make this quick. I think New Orleans is just the overall way better team here. Like I said, Derrick Henry is battling through that hamstring injury. And like you said, Michael Thomas is just lethal. Can't guard him. If this was maybe minus 6.5, I might maybe lean a little more towards the Titans. But at minus 3 for the Saints, I feel like it's a no-brainer. Take them, Saints minus 3.
Yeah, I got really nothing to say. The only thing that makes me nervous is Drew Brees playing outside in December in the cold. I have here that he is 4-12-1 against the spread in December and January since Drew Brees has started.
How cold is it going to be in Tennessee?
I mean, it's not good. It's not going to be 60 degrees. It's gonna be colder outside than it would be in their dome.
Okay. Good assumption.
But I mean, I'd be stupid not to take New Orleans minus 2.5 here. So New Orleans minus 2.5.
It will be colder.
It's going to be 55 and rainy.
Colder outside than it will be in the dome. You can't argue opinions.
You can't
It's
argue
moving on.
opinions, and in this case, can't argue fact.
Cannot.
Moving on. Giants at Washington. We had a great weekend last week. On Sunday at MetLife Stadium, Mano was not in attendance. Gave up the ticket. Originally was going. Gave it to Andy.
Our Jaguars fan.
If you guys followed our Instagram story, you saw we were first row behind the one of the end zones. Absolute great seats, best seats I've ever had for any game. I think. I mean,
Yeah, 3 touchdowns were scored in
all
that end zone.
sports. Yeah, we had Golden Tate catch a 51-yarder. Saquon scored. Did he score both of them?
No, he scored one, and then Buck Allen scored the other one.
Yeah. So
Javorius Buck Allen.
I didn't even know he was on the Giants. And
They didn't use him.
our
Now they're
team.
using him over Wayne Gallman. I guess they just want to see what they have. And to me, that's an indication that Dave
Wayne's
Gallman is
out.
going to stick around
See you, Wayne.
if he's trying to, kind of throw guys in there in a blowout game and see what he's got. But
yeah, so let's get to the game. Both teams come in at 3-11, bottom of the NFC East.
Woo.
They're really battling for last place, just like the Cowboys and the Eagles are battling for first. The line opened at Washington minus 2.5. It's now Washington minus 2. So early money on the Giants.
Daniel Jones is expected to play and start.
Is he?
He is.
Yes, we're
and
expected. We saw Eli's last game probably last week.
It was great. Got a standing ovation.
That was a good time.
The whole
Yeah.
stadium.
It was an absolute great moment.
Okay, go ahead.
He might have shed a tear.
I did.
Guy ran across the field.
That is true. He got a standing O coming through the tunnel, getting
Dude,
escorted out by police.
The way those NJ State police were tackling, we should put them on the defensive side because Ogletree is bad.
That is true.
Yeah, can the police do
the
better
state
than
trooper.
Antoine Bethea and
And Alec Ogletree,
Alec
yes,
Ogletree.
yes they can.
Even as a Giants fan, I just don't know what to do here. Like, I don't... Like, this game is going to be close.
Listen, I hope the Giants lose because I really want Chase Young.
I hope they do too.
Really
and, I mean,
want
staying in
Chase.
college.
I hope he
I don't know.
doesn't.
It's in Washington. Washington's I just feel like this is a trap game.
Listen, I'm not going to beat around it. I'm taking the Giants plus 2.5. This game could be played on the moon, and it's still two garbage teams. It's one of those games where it could be a trap game, but I think the Giants are going to win outright. I think they have more talent, which is hard.
Oh,
It
the,
is-
the fan base is going to be so pissed when they
It
win.
is. I know.
I'm going to be so mad if they win a football
I
game.
know. Dwayne Haskins hasn't been necessarily good. I think experience on the defensive side of the ball for the Giants. They might not have the talent, but they can at least make a rookie quarterback a little uncomfortable.
I think
in
what
a
the Giants
situation.
have to do this game is stop the run, and the Skins lost Darius Guy, so now it's just strictly AP.
Right.
So they have Peterson just run up the
who's
middle,
killed the Giants in the past.
which makes me scared.
Right.
Which makes me scared.
He caught his first touchdown against the Giants
Of course he
last
did.
year.
Of course he
and
did.
it was the first receiving touchdown he's had since his rookie year or something like that. And that's the type of stuff that only happens to the Giants. So if you're looking for flukes, man, this might be a prop bet game for you.
I don't know what I want to do with this game. I don't because I want to take the Giants, but I don't want to take the Giants. I'll take the Giants. Okay, Giants plus 2.5. Fine,
It's two of
fine,
us.
fine. It's 2.
He's also
Two of us. I'm on
and
it,
it's
too. Yeah.
about to be three. Except I'm taking the Giants money line.
Yeah, that's a good value.
I mean,
that's a good value at plus 106.
That's what I'm saying. I think that the Giants. Here's the thing with the Giants. The Giants always do what the fan base doesn't want. So the fan base does not want them to win, which means they are going to win this game. And their offense, yes, I know we haven't been that great, but we do have a lot of weapons. And going against a team like
A lot of surprises.
yeah, a lot of surprises.
Darius Slayton.
Going against a team like the Redskins, we saw them play another shitty team last week against the Dolphins and just kill them. I understand our boy Elijah was at the quarterback position,
I
but
don't even think Elijah played that well last
He
week.
threw 3 picks. He threw a pick right to the Dolphins linebacker.
Elijah
It was
did-
straight at him. It wasn't
Elijah
even
did
close.
not play that well.
Well, you know what he won. The only thing that matters is winning.
Yes,
That's
sir.
not true, but
50-50 average, baby. That's
it
what
was
it's
a
all.
big win too.
Yeah.
Giants money line.
you
That's
go.
my lock of the week.
Okay. Stick with
I'm gonna go Washington in
Okay.
this.
I know.
2 weeks ago, they played at Green Bay, a very close game, 5 points. They lost by 10 to Philly last week, but it should not have been a 10-point game. It should have been a 3-point game. Philly, I forget what happened at the end of that game, but it was some wonky stuff, bad beat kind of thing.
It was a crappy beat because I had Washington plus 5.5 and they lost by 6 or something.
No, they lost by 10. It was some garbage time touchdown on
on like a fumble return.
Fumble
Oh, I
return.
covered on that game.
Yeah, you did cover on that.
Yeah.
You did. It was fucking
Yeah.
garbage.
I don't know. I feel like Dwayne Haskins is finally keeping the team in games, and Daniel Jones coming off an injury. I don't
Without
really
looking,
know what's
do you
going
know
to
how
happen.
many touchdowns Haskins has thrown?
2.
Do you have it in front of you?
What? 5.
I was gonna
He's thrown
say
5.
6.
5 touchdowns. You know how many picks he's thrown?
11.
13.
1.
7.
Oh, okay.
I don't watch the Redskins. I don't know what they're doing there.
Nothing good apparently.
I don't know if they're just jamming the ball with AP. If
I
that's
just-
The
I
thing
have
is, he hasn't played much. Like Keenum played. I'm sure he split half the year with Keenum at this point.
somewhat. All right, so
I don't know. I'm going Washington, and we're gonna
Alright.
move on and stop beating the dead horse
Listen,
on another
I'm just
crappy,
afraid the
crappy game that we're all gonna watch.
I
on
just don't want the
Sunday.
Giants to lose on a 60-yard field goal. That's the if they don't if
Well, they're not playing Jake Elliott, so it's completely fine.
yeah.
Moving on, we got Pittsburgh at the Jets.
Bird.
Pittsburgh's 3-point favorites at MetLife. The over/under is set at 38.5. I don't even really want to talk about this game. I think, like Nick mentioned before, Pittsburgh has a top 5 defense, which I don't necessarily agree with. But
Can't argue stats.
You
in
cannot
this
argue
case,
stats.
against
you
the
can argue
Jets,
opinion. You can't argue stats.
all I'm saying is I watched Oakland play the Jets at MetLife, and the Jets blew them out of the water.
Man, that was my lock.
It was your lock.
That was upsetting.
This game is going to be completely different than that. Pittsburgh's a 3-point favorite on the road, which I feel like is kind of the tail of the tape here. I feel like a lot of 3 and 7-point spreads and not much in between. What this comes down to for me is Pittsburgh is just not going to allow the Jets to really score more than, I would say, they're not going to score more than 14, and I definitely think Pittsburgh has the talent on offense, even with Ducky Hodges, to, I don't know why I said Bucky, but yeah, they just have
Bucky
the
Hodges
talent
used
on
to be a
offense.
tight end for the Virginia Tech Hokies, if anybody cares. So that's probably why you're thinking about Bucky.
I'm going to go with a dual play on this game. I'm going to go with Pittsburgh -3, and I'm going to play the under. So the total set at 38.5, now down to 37. Early money on the under, driving it down. So yeah, I'm going to have a dual play on this one, Pittsburgh and the under.
This is a story of two really slow offenses and two stout defenses. Duck Hodges looked like crap last week. We've seen Sam Darnold's, watching ghosts out there. I can't stand the Jets. I can't stand their fan base. I can't stand the organization as a whole. I got to roll with Pittsburgh here. Pittsburgh's been doing me right all year in fantasy. And gambling wise, so I'd be wrong to go against the Pittsburgh Steelers here and what Mike Tomlin's done with that lackluster team.
I'm about to drop some knowledge on it. Did you make a pick? I don't want to cut you off.
Pittsburgh -3.
Okay, I'm gonna drop some knowledge on you. Bucky Hodges has played for both the Jets and the Steelers.
Oh man,
So
Bucky!
That's why that's 100%
They've had two Hodges, Bucky and Ducky.
right. Sure. Sure. So Pittsburgh, I think their main thing is to try to, pound the football in the run game with Jalen Samuel and James Conner. And to that point, the Jets have a really solid run defense. It doesn't always, show up on paper because teams are just going to pass the ball because they can't, because they're going to stop the run. I don't think that makes a difference in this game. I'm going Steelers -3.
Yeah, I don't know how you just don't take the Steelers, especially at -3 in this game. I think realistically the Jets might come out a little strong in the beginning. They might even score first. But then I think Pittsburgh is really just going to stick it to them.
We saw the Jets move the ball. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No,
we
it's
saw
okay.
the Jets move the ball against a very good Ravens team. That game was a blowout, but they were able to at least move the ball just with no consistency. Every once in a while, Adam Gase pulled a few plays from the book to just kind of keep it going.
I cannot trust that. Cannot.
Yeah, I don't trust the Jets at all. And like I said last week, I understand the Ducks fly south for the winter, but it is going to be a little bit warmer this weekend. The Ducks are coming back up north. Steelers -3.
Quack. All right, we got Cincy at Miami. The line is a pick'em. The total set at 46.5. Two terrible teams. There's no sense in even breaking this down. We're running even a little bit long on time here, so I'm gonna pick the home team in Miami, and I'm not gonna think about it much less. I'm not betting this game. I wouldn't bet this game if I were you guys.
Yeah.
Don't even touch this thing. Just let it play out. Just let this game get lost in the NFL shuffle and watch it. Maybe
Burn.
yeah, just watch it burn.
You're picking someone, though.
I'm picking somebody. I'm going with the home team. I'm taking Miami and a pick 'em. I can't back Cincinnati. I really don't want to back Miami here, other than the fact they're playing at Hard Rock in Miami, Florida. Yeah, it's my pick.
Rapid fire. Go, Mike.
All right, I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to go Dolphins at home. Watched them play in MetLife last week. I know the Giants beat them pretty bad, but I think they're going to beat the Dolphins, the Bengals, especially at home. Dolphins.
Nick, drop some knowledge.
I'm going to drop a 12-6 curveball on you. I'm going to go with Cincinnati. I went with them last week against New England. It almost worked out, but I'm going to go with
It
Cincinnati.
didn't even come close to working out. They got blown out.
They started off close.
It was close for 2 quarters.
It's 34-13.
I don't care.
They lost by 2.
Have you
3
seen?
touchdowns.
Have you seen Miami? Did you see what the Giants did to Miami's defense last week?
Yeah,
Andy Dalton,
fine.
Cincinnati.
Take your pick.
Bounce back game, Miami.
Fine.
Ooh.
Moving on. We have
Oh my God.
Carolina at Indianapolis. Indianapolis is Indianapolis are 6.5-point favorites against Carolina. Will Greer is getting the start.
West
William!
Virginia.
Let Mike talk a little bit more about Will Greer. I don't think Indianapolis deserves to be a touchdown favorite in this game. I think Carolina has the best player on the field in Christian McCaffrey, and I think that this game is going to be completely different. This line is way, way, way off, and I'm even going to go with I'm going to take Carolina 6.5 here just to save my ass when it comes down to it. But I think Carolina wins this game outright.
I think Carolina is +7 right now just because it's Will Greer, and I don't think anybody knows like what to expect, if anything, from Will Greer. I'm with you. I don't know if they win this game outright. I don't know what kind of quarterback Will Greer is in the NFL. He was obviously very productive in college. You know, just a product of the offense that was run in West Virginia.
There's also no defense in any Big 12 games.
That too. But you know, at the very least, those quarterbacks know how to throw the football.
And he has the ability to use his legs. So
right.
And when you have a guy like McCaffrey in the backfield, you don't have to do much. You gotta you give the guy his touches. You throw your swing passes. You throw your quick slants to him in the slot. You line him up wherever the heck you want. You get him the ball. You let him do his thing.
They're gonna simplify that offense for Will Greer. I think it's gonna be enough to get +7.
Well, you talk about Carolina's offense and what DJ Moore has done out of nowhere. He's third in the league in top receiving yards this year, and he's had Kyle Allen throwing in the ball more than half of the year. I think the firepower is on Carolina's side, and I think Will Greer is gonna be able to settle in and try to and at least cover the spread here. So I'll go Carolina, whatever 6.5, 7, whatever you got it at.
Mano, you hit on the main point with them simplifying the offense with Will Greer being in there. I think it's be a lot of short plays, maybe some check down passes. And at least in college, Will Greer is very comfortable in the pocket. I'm going to go West Virginia, my West Virginia guy, Will Greer, Panthers.
All right.
Oh, maybe I'll take... No, just Panthers. What is it, +6.5?
Yeah, I really wanted to take the money line, but just to save my ass in the sake of picks and to save your guys' asses... With the money, I just take the points. You might as well.
Real quick, while we're on West Virginia, shout out David Sills being signed to the Giants, another West Virginia guy.
I think he's gonna have an impact. In all honesty, he's a big body guy. He's got good hands.
He's got to make the active run. If he can get some playing time.
I didn't know he was 6'2", 6'3".
Yeah, but he's only like what, 190? He's like,
I don't know. I didn't know he
big
was.
Dude.
I didn't know he was 6'2". Until I watched the West Virginia game last year and it was wide open in the end zone. I thought it was this little 5'11" dude, running slant routes over the middle.
Nope.
Big guy. Moving on.
We gotta. I mean, this has the potential to be a good game. I don't think it's gonna be a good game.
I don't think so at all.
Baltimore at Cleveland. Baltimore's 12-2, has the possibility to wrap up the number 1 seed with a win. Cleveland below expectations at 6-8.
You think?
I mean, I think getting Odell and pairing him up with Jarvis Landry and having Nick Chubb, that offense, like if they had any other quarterback other than Baker Mayfield, I think that offense would be a lot better. I think he really, really tears them down, but he has the potential, and I hope he turns it around, honestly, because as much as he likes to run his mouth and kind of be arrogant and have that underdog mentality, I don't mind the guy. He's harmless. The Johnny Manziel comparisons are pretty unfair, but
Jay Money.
yeah, I mean,
I love that.
but then you look at the other side of the ball and you got a guy like Lamar Jackson and that Baltimore defense that's just playing unbelievable. Super Bowl favorites in my opinion, and in a lot of people's opinions. The line is set at Baltimore -10. The under-over set at 49.5. This is a really high number, one of the highest numbers of the week, if not the highest. And I'm going to go ahead and take that. I just think Baltimore is just playing a lot better football than Cleveland. Hopefully this line dips back down under 10 so you can take it without buying points. Even if you want to throw this in a teaser just to be safe, I think that's not a bad option. But I think Baltimore has the ability to win this game by anywhere from 10 to 20 points, pretty much with ease. But I don't know. I'm just a little bit scared of Odell and Jarvis playing up to the competition in this game.
10's a big number,
Yeah, I'm
dude.
scared of a little backdoor cover here, but I think this game is going to go the same way the Baltimore Jets game went last week. I think Baltimore is just going to pour it on. They don't care about anybody else. They're just going to win. Lamar Jackson's a stud. Their offense is unreal. Their defense has been playing lights out. All they got to do is get to Baker Mayfield, get him rattled a little bit, and then there you go. All you got to do is, as soon as you see OBJ with his head down and his hands, throwing his hands up, give me the ball, that's it. You're already in his head and he's done. So I hate the double digit spread here. I don't like taking them, but I'd be down not to take Baltimore -10.
I think -10 is a not necessarily a safe bet, but I think it's a
It's a fair number.
It's a fair number for what these teams are and what they've proved to be this year. Jarvis Landry's questionable with a hip injury. Odell's questionable with a groin injury. Everybody's hurting at this point in the season.
Yeah,
my
arm
and it's
hurts.
probably more valuable for these teams to hold their stars out of practice at this point. Especially, this is the core you're going to have for a pretty decent time, and hopefully next year you bounce back with the talent you have. And there's no point in hurting them in a practice situation. But I'm taking Baltimore -10.
Lamar wants that MVP locked up,
Yeah.
baby.
I know I was scared for the -10, but they're just too good. Like, after just seeing them play consistently, they're too good. And the one thing is, they play as a team, and they all revolve around Lamar. Whereas with the Browns, there's just too many wannabe superstars or too many leaders on that team, and they just don't click. And you're dumb if you just don't go with the Ravens here. Ravens -10.
All right, moving on to Detroit at Denver. The line is Denver -7. Just looking at this and giving it the eye test, I feel like this line is a little too high, but then once you just dive into it, I don't think it is. David Blau's still retaining that starting spot with both Stafford and Jeff Driscoll out. I don't know. He's not a good quarterback, and we saw Drew Lock kind of show what he could do against Houston 2 weeks ago, but then they went into Kansas City in a snow game last week, and he just really couldn't do much. But going back to Denver this week at home, I think it's going to be good for them. I don't think Detroit is a good team whatsoever. They lost at home to Tampa Bay by 3 touchdowns. I'm going to ride Denver's ability to slow Detroit down, and I hope Drew Lock has another great game, and I think he's got the possibility to do that. I'm going to take Denver -7 in this one. The total set at 38.5. I also could see this one staying under. I think it's going to be sloppy, but that's just my opinion. I don't. The total is still low, and Denver's got the ability to put up points, but I don't know. I probably shouldn't have even mentioned the total as a pick anyways. But Denver -7 is going to be my pick on this one, and that's that.
Denver is 8-6 against the spread on the season. I'm not a big fan of this game, this line, anything about this game really. Denver -6.5. They have talent on that defense, even if there's no talent on the offense. There's no talent period on the Lions. I wouldn't touch this game, but I have to make a pick, so it's Denver -6.5.
I agree with you, man. This is just like a sloppy game, and neither offenses are really that good. But like you said, the Broncos' defense is at least somewhat decent, whereas the Lions actually have no one. And with Matt Blau or whatever, something.
David
Blau.
David
Blau. Yeah, I just don't trust him. I gotta go with Denver -7.
Yeah, I'm struggling a little bit here. I mean, I know Denver's got the talent and all this stuff. It's supposed to be nice out on Sunday too for that game. And I'm looking at it. The forecast is saying 61 degrees. They're pretty warm up there in the Mile High Stadium. 7 points is a lot, and I think both of these teams aren't good. But Drew Lock has shown flashes of potential, and I think that's why I lean Denver's side here. And if the game gets down to it, I think Denver's run game can, sustain drives and get them points when they need it. All right, I'll go Denver -7.
Okay. Iffy picks from all of us, so if that's any indication, I would say just stay away.
Yeah, it's a crap game.
But since that's what we do here, and we have to make a pick on every single game, that's what we got to do. So moving on, we got Oakland visiting the Chargers in California. Oakland last week, we touched on it when we went over the Jacksonville game. They blew a lead, ended up losing 20-16 at home. The Chargers got blown out by Minnesota 39-10. But then you take a look back a week prior when the Chargers went into Jacksonville and convincingly beat up on them 45-10 as 3-point favorites. By the way, the line is Chargers -7. The total is set at 45. Oakland is 6-8. Chargers are 5-9, which is wild to even think about that Oakland has a better record than the Chargers. When you look at the talent on even both sides of the ball for both teams. My pick is going to be Chargers -7, and here's why. It's the talent. It's the X factor test for me, and I just feel like the Chargers have so many more playmakers, and aside from Phillip Rivers being a turnover machine, I don't think Oakland is one of those teams that is really going to kind of put him under pressure. I think they're going to be able to handle it even with their depleted offensive line. I think it's going to be very, very similar to their win against Jacksonville. And they're at home, even though it's not necessarily a home game when they play at home because they're playing in that soccer stadium. So I don't really know. It's
The Raiders don't have Josh Jacobs, too.
They don't have Josh Jacobs, and that's arguably their biggest
on.
playmaker on that offense. The line opened at 5.5 to the Chargers, and it's.
I would have taken that.
I mean, that would have been nice to get that under the key number of 7, but it's up to 7 now, and I'm still comfortable taking it there. I think this game's going to be a blowout. I think the Chargers take this one convincingly and actually get a win that they deserve after having a couple close losses this year.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have much to say. No Josh Jacobs really does it for me. I think the Chargers definitely have enough to cover the spread on offense and on defense. The under-over's at 45. I do think the under's a little bit in play, but we're going to go the spread here, and I'm going to go LA -7.
Yeah, I'm with you. You got no argument for me. LA -7.
Yeah, not much with this game.
I'm a John Gruden fan. I do hate Derek Carr. The one thing, though, is Phillip Rivers just doesn't sit well with me. I know that he's just one person. He's the quarterback, but I just have no faith in Phillip Rivers, and I do like my guy John Gruden. I could see him getting a win after losing their last home game in the Coliseum. I'm gonna stick with my man John.
Okay.
That's Raiders
bold
+7.
Okay.
Moving on, we got the battle for the division in the NFC East. Dallas visiting Philadelphia. Both teams sitting at 7-7, which is absolutely disgusting, considering this game is going to decide the division. I think this line is terribly, terribly off. Dallas is 1.5-point favorites on the road. It opened at 2.5. The total set at 46. I mean, I did it a couple weeks ago to make 2 lock of the week picks, and I'm going to do it again this week. Dallas -1.5 is my second lock of the week here to go along with who did I choose?
Well, you took New Orleans.
I took New Orleans, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put another lock of the week in here for Dallas.
Now you get 2 locks of the week.
I haven't lost a lock of the week yet. Just saying, and I'm the biggest jinx there is. So I mean,
you should knock on some wood.
Knock on some wood here. There you go. I just think you saw what Dallas did to the Rams last week, and the Rams are a talented football team. Philly played a really, really close game with the Redskins last week and with the Giants a couple weeks ago, and they're just not a good football team. And I think even on the road, this line should be like a 7-point line. I don't know why it's like this, and I don't see Philly winning this game. They don't deserve to win the division. Although Dallas dropped some games to bad teams, they lost to the Jets. And they had another really, really bad loss. I'm losing it right now, but
Who, the Eagles?
No, Dallas. They lost to the Bears. I wouldn't necessarily call them a terrible team, but like.
Well, they lost to the Bills on Thanksgiving.
But the Bills are a good team.
They lost to the Patriots as well.
What? So you're saying a loss? They lost to the Jets.
I'm saying in terms of bad losses here.
They lost to the
Dallas
Jets.
has had their fair share, and I just don't think this is gonna happen. They have something to play for here. Going into Philly, gonna be a really hostile environment for both fans, both teams. But ultimately, Dallas is a much better team, and that's why I'm adding them on, doubling down. I got 2 locks of the week. Dallas -1.5.
I'm on the other side of your stick. I'm taking Philly. Philly plus 1.5. I think it's really good value here. I think it's going to be a close game. These teams play close games. Philly's got momentum right now. They got something to play for. I feel like Dallas is kind of feel like they might have locked up the division, and now it's kind of catching up to them. And I think now they're sleepwalking a little bit through this. I don't think they're well coached. They obviously have talent, but talent doesn't matter when you're not put in the right spots by the coach. I got to go Philly 1.5.
I couldn't disagree with you more. I really, really, really couldn't. Who's going to catch the ball other than Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert?
J.J. Arcega-Whiteside.
Yeah, well...
Greg Ward Jr.
No,
Scraps, baby, scraps.
The quarterback turned wide receiver.
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to be really surprised when you watch this one.
Dallas does this every year. They'll play well at the end of the year to lock up the division, and then as soon as they get in the playoffs, they crap the bed and they lose the first game. I think 1.5 here is. I think Dallas wins the game on a field goal. So I'm going to take Dallas minus 1.5.
I think it is going to be a close game. It is an NFC matchup. I do, however, think that Dallas is the better team in this situation, and I think that Dallas does come out victorious here. And I think that they win by at least a touchdown, but that's not going to be my bet. My bet is just Cowboys minus 1.5.
I'm telling you, you guys are going to look as dumb as Jason Garrett does when he's, down 20, just clapping on the sideline.
Jason Garrett does look pretty dumb.
He does. He does. And
Well,
you guys
Jerry
are going to have the same emotion when Carson Wentz and scrub-a-dub wide receivers are going out and balling all over a pretty banged up Dallas team.
Well, 2 locks of the week out of me means we're having 5 picks this week on the Instagram.
Oh my god.
I couldn't. This might be my more confident lock of the week. I couldn't really this game is just. You said Philly's got momentum, but look what Dallas did last week on Sunday night. I don't know. Moving on, anyways. Everybody made a pick on that. You guys both got Philly?
No, I took Dallas.
You took Dallas, so Man's the only one that...
The only thing is Philly is going to be rocking. That place is going to be nuts.
It doesn't matter. The Giants came into Philly and played the game to overtime.
It's different.
The Giants played them to overtime.
It's different than right now against the Cowboys. Listen, I'm still going with the Cowboys, but that place is going to be rocking.
I don't even think this place is going to be... I don't think this game's going to be close. If the spread was Dallas -7, -9.5, I'd probably still take it. Moving on, we got Arizona at Seattle at the link. The spread is Seattle -9.5. The total set at 51. Arizona comes into this one at 4-9. Seattle at 11-3. This game is weird for me. I think Seattle's a really good team, but their defense scares me, and Arizona plays up tempo, which is what really does explain the total. If I have to make a pick on this one, I'm gonna go over. I think Arizona's gonna be able to put up some points on them. I don't know how many, but Arizona put up 38 on Cleveland. And Cleveland's defense, I feel like, is maybe a little step below Seattle's, but yeah, Arizona just plays quick. I think this game's gonna go over. I don't want to play this game on the spread, so
you're taking over 51.
I'm gonna go over 51 on this one. And yeah, that's my pick for this one. I just play on the offenses and bad defenses, and Arizona plays that air raid offense, and Seattle's going to have the ability to put up points. I know they're a run-heavy team, but they're going to score at least 20, 25 points, and maybe 30, and I don't know. This game goes over, in my opinion. I don't know what the final score is going to be. It could even be a Seattle blowout, and I still think it sends it over, so...
Yeah, Seattle's banged up on defense, which makes it tough for me. They're going to be missing Quadri Diggs, their starting defensive back, and I think they're going to be without Bobby Wagner too in the middle of the field. They just lost Josh Gordon to suspension again, which probably put. Listen, that's got to put a damper on the front office. They claim this guy off of waivers. Josh Gordon, looks like he's got his life on track, and then next thing you know, he's been doing something wrong behind the scenes the whole time.
Russell Wilson was, in the locker room, kind of pining for Josh Gordon, and even Antonio Brown before that. He's never really had a dynamic wide receiver like those two guys, and has always made do with, the talent that he has around him. He's one of those quarterbacks that make guys around him better.
He does, and it's tough here because I do think it's going to be a shootout, and I would take the over, but I think because it's going to be a shootout, I think Arizona's going to stand a chance in here. Right now, the Seahawks have yet to win any game at home by more than a touchdown. Arizona's defense is garbage, but Seattle's defense could be in and out too. So I do think you were talking a little bit about Cliff Kingsbury earlier in the podcast, and I do think Cliff is implementing. He's finally getting he's starting to get comfortable with what he's got on the team. Kyler Murray's starting to settle in. He does have some weapons. Kenyon Drake, DJ. He's got Chase Edmonds back now. Seattle. I think Arizona's got some firepower here, and I think they have enough to keep up with Seattle. So I'm gonna go with Arizona plus 9.5.
I agree that they do have some firepower and they are starting to click, but they're going into Seattle. That stadium, they do pump in crowd noise, going to be extra loud in there. Allegedly. But I think you just can't go against the Seahawks, and I know that, and the Cardinals are on the road here. I'm going to have to go with I have my faith in Russell Wilson. I think he's going to throw for 4 touchdowns in this game. Seahawks minus 9.5.
Yeah, I'm with you there too. Seahawks minus 9.5. They're a better team. I trust Russell Wilson a lot more than I trust Kyler Murray. I couldn't name 2 dudes. I was gonna say 1 dude, but they got Patrick Peterson, and he's pretty good.
Chandler Jones.
You can't even say his name.
I will say Chandler Johnson. Jones.
Look, they have guys. They got David Johnson.
Okay, yeah.
Kenyon Drake.
David Johnson. Don't ever say that name again.
That guy fell off.
Everybody's got guys. You need 22 of them or you need 11 on a defense. But Seattle minus 9.5. I think this line is going to change too. I think it's going to end up.
I think it's going to drop.
You think it's going to drop? I think it's going to go up. I think it's going to end up closer to like 12.
That's a high. What you feel comfortable? Would you take 12?
No.
Yeah. No.
So well, that's why we make picks now.
That's
It's 9.5, and I'm going to take 9.5.
Yes,
I wouldn't touch this game though.
All right, we got the Sunday night game. Kansas City going into Chicago to play the Bears. The line opened at 4.5 to Kansas City. It's now Kansas City minus 6. The total set at 44.5. Kansas City's defense has stepped up, and Chicago's defense has been solid pretty much all year. Haven't really let up many points, and I think Kansas City covers the spread here. I'm going to go with Kansas City minus 6. I just think that Patrick Mahomes has it's just the tale of 2 offenses here. Chicago's struggled. Kansas City has really not been like super explosive, but they've gotten the job done here. Mahomes is playing hurt. We've said it before. I'll say it again. I still think it's the case. I think he's banged up. I also think the under's in play here. I think 44.5 is a little bit high. It's going to be really chilly on Sunday night in Chicago. I could see this playing out to maybe like a 20-17 game, 20-10 game, 24-10. Like, I don't think Chicago's going to put up many points. Like, I don't. No. This game is going to be a slugfest, and I think Kansas City pulls away late.
Listen, America's seen
Kansas City minus 6.
America's seen Chicago's offense, and everybody knows what Chicago is and what Mitch Trubisky is. And
I hate Mitch Trubisky.
Mitch Trubisky's a bum. That offense is terrible.
He's a fraud.
David Montgomery, is supposed to be, this hidden gem in the 3rd round. Matt Nagy doesn't know what he's doing. I would be stupid not to take Kansas City minus 6.
Yeah, dude. Like you said, Matt Nagy, not a smart coach. I hate Mitch Trubisky. The Bears also just lost to Oakland. Like,
that's bad.
Like, I know they lost 25-20, but like still, like, you lost to the Raiders. Yeah, I have to take Kansas City here. What is it, minus 6, you said?
Minus
Kansas
6.
City minus 6.
I'm with you. No argument here. Minus 6.
KC, Squadron Lock.
Squad lock.
Oh, the last one, the Monday night game.
Moving on to Monday night. Green Bay at Minnesota. One key point for this one. Dalvin Cook is not expected to play on Monday night. Minnesota are 5.5-point favorites. It opened at -4. So a lot of money being put on Minnesota after.
Why?
They had a
Why?
convincing win
Why?
against the Chargers. They're really clicking. I think they're a very solid team. I think they have the ability. They have the ability to go deep into the playoffs. But that's only if they have Dalvin Cook. I think he really changes the way that offense looks and takes pressure off of Kirk Cousins.
Madison isn't even playing.
I know that's what I'm saying.
It's gonna be Aaron AJ. I was gonna say Aaron Boone, but I think it's
Mike Boone.
Mike Boone.
Mike Boone and Amir Abdullah in the backfield. They
Man,
had the
I've been
receiving
waiting for
core.
Amir Abdullah for like years to be a viable fantasy running back, and it just hasn't happened. I've been on the Amir Abdullah train, and I am now off that train.
You want to know what this game is? No Dalvin Cook, Kirk Cousins in prime time in a big divisional game here. They win this game. They're tied for the division lead. I don't see it happening. I'm going to go Green Bay plus 5.5. I think Green Bay has the ability to win this game outright. I think a play on a Green Bay like plus 180 money line is going to be a very good play for me. I'm definitely going to play that along with the spread. Throw it in a lotto parlay. I don't even think it's a long shot. I think it's very, very possible. And I think this line is just set the way it is just because of the way Minnesota played last week.
Yeah, I don't have much. I really don't have much to say about this game. You do the eyeball test. No Dalvin Cook. Nothing in the backfield. Kirk Cousins primetime, like you said. This is Aaron Rodgers primetime under the lights in a dome.
And late in the season.
Late in the season, he's got all of his boys back.
He's running out of time.
That's when he does his best when he's running out of time. So I'm gonna go. Come on, Green Bay minus 5.5.
Plus
Green Bay
5.5.
Green Bay plus 5.5. Green Bay money line. Whatever you want here.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah, I have nothing to say either. I'm going Green Bay plus 5.5. This is simple.
All right, let's do some locks of the week. Sticky gave us 2. Let's remind the people.
All right, my 2 locks of the week. We have New Orleans minus 2.5 over Tennessee, and Dallas minus 1.5 over Philly.
Dumb.
It's the 2 locks. Haven't lost one yet.
Man, what do you got?
I've doubled up before.
I'm gonna toss up right now, and I'm not bold enough to make 2, so I'm gonna punt on this one. Come back to me.
All right. Well, if you're gonna give me a lock and you're gonna punt. I'm going to steal yours then because you're punting it to me.
Okay.
And I'm going to return your punt for a touchdown. And I'm going to take Green Bay plus 5.5 here, and I'm going to lock it right there.
Okay.
I'm taking the G-Men as my lock.
Nice.
On this one.
Nice.
Like I said, saw them play last week. They look good. I understand it was a lot. Eli's going away, party. They had something to play for. But like I said, too, the Giants are a team that when you don't want them to win is when they will win. And they're going into FedEx Field. The Redskins are not good either. I think the Giants pull away here. They have too many weapons on offense, even though I haven't been clicking. Giants, lock.
All right, you got your time.
Yeah, I did, and I'm still not ready. I'm gonna make a pick though. But
You have to make a
I
pick.
know I have to. It's Pittsburgh minus 3.
That's what
I
I was
It's
between
Pittsburgh
that two. I
minus
was
3.
between that two. The bird.
I
baby.
feel comfortable enough taking Pittsburgh minus 3 in this situation.
Absolutely.
My other lock was going to be Green Bay.
I know.
And then I
know.
thought about the Giants too. But I'm trying to maintain a record here. So
I'm a little queasy that we need to post the Giants on Sunday, but it's
I'm
a
a little
lock of the
queasy that
week,
you think-
and that's it.
I'm a little queasy that you think Dallas is going to blow them out of the
That's fine with me. I
Eagles
mean,
out of the water.
I don't know. Just in my opinion, at least, I feel like this is a really easy betting week, and that's a little scary because
That's when it's the tough.
I feel really, really confident about a lot of games this week, and I'm going to play everything I feel confident in, and that means a lot of money on the line. And yeah, I don't know, I hope that the advice has been working for you guys. Just a little quick social media plug here on Instagram at capson.sports. On Twitter, capson_Inc. INC. We haven't been very active on Twitter lately, but we're going to pick that up. For those of you who prefer Twitter over Instagram. As always, this podcast is available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So if you have friends listening or that listen to their podcasts on the app other than the one that you're currently listening on, please let them know. Word of mouth is going to help us grow and ultimately get to where we want to be, and we, in return, are going to try to do our best to help you guys out. So
if you guys have any suggestions, anything you guys want to hear from us talk about, different sports, different this, different that.
Drop them in the DMs.
Yeah,
drop in the DMs, comments,
Slide in,
like the
baby.
posts, spread the word.
Whatever you gotta do. We're user friendly. We want to make sure we put out the content that our listeners and our viewers want. So please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We'll be quick. We'll be getting back to you soon.
We're for the people.
Moral of the story: the great Richard Sherman once said, "You can't argue opinions." Let's have a good week.
And as always, we'll leave the cap on for you. Mike, say your signature. You picked them as your lock.
Oh, let's go Giants, baby.